All right, next chapter, chapter 6, the stress management spectrum. What is the stress management spectrum?
It's the same idea. The more you meditate, the more you do yoga, the more you improve. So you decide how much to do it. And it improves you in a number of ways. One is you manage stress better. Your fuse gets longer. Things don't bother you as much. So people say things like, they didn't change, but I did. That you can do the same job, the same family, the same work environment, the same home, and yet you react to it in different ways. Just like when you're tired and run down, your fuse is shorter, and little day-to-day aggravations can often be the most stressful. Things just don't bother you as much. It's not like you have to hold it in or explode. It's like, and then you can actually function at a much higher level to deal with whatever needs to be done. But also, as we talked about earlier, it quiets down your mind and body, so you experience more of an inner sense of peace and well-being, which you can then, remain very grounded in, even when you're very busy out there. And if you take it even further, it gives you that direct experience of interconnectedness, that on one level we're separate, on another level we're already interconnected. There was a wonderful study that was done by Nicholas Christakis at Harvard, where he found that if your friends are obese, you're 45% more likely to be obese yourself. If it's your friends' friends, it's 25%. If it's your friends' friends' friends, you're 10% more likely, even if you've never met them. That's how interconnected we already are. And it's not just obesity, it's depression, it's pretty much everything.
Yes.
So the support groups that we have, which we'll talk about in a moment, are designed to recreate that sense of intimacy. That intimacy is really healing. Even the word healing comes from the root to make whole. Yoga comes from the Sanskrit to yoke, to unite, union. These are really old ideas that we're rediscovering. And 50 years ago, there's been a radical shift in our culture in the last 50 years ago. 50 years ago, people had an extended family they saw regularly. They had a job that felt secure. They had a church or synagogue they went to regularly. They had an extended family that they saw regularly. And today, many people don't have any of those things.
Okay.
And the thing that happens when you have an extended family or a neighborhood with 2 or 3 generations of people that you grow up with is that they know you. They don't just know your Facebook profile.
Exactly.
In fact, there was a study that came out last month that showed that the more time you spend on Facebook, the more depressed and sick you get. And the reason is because it looks like everybody has this great life but you. It's like, because people don't post like, oh, I was suicidal when I was 19, or oh, my son's on heroin, or these dark stuff, or gosh, I have all these self-doubts. It's like, here I am at the front of the Eiffel Tower, here I am with my perfect life and my perfect family, and they're go like, what's wrong with me? And so it's like James Cameron, the legendary director in Avatar. It's like, I see you. It's not, which is really an African Zulu proverb. It's like, what it means is not, I don't just see your Facebook profile or your bio sketch. I see you. I saw you grow up. I saw you messed up. I saw when you were doubtful. I saw when you broke that window. I saw when you were so distraught over everything. And I'm still here for you.
Yes.
So our support groups are designed and really do replicate that. We create a safe environment where people can let down their emotional defenses and just be open and authentic with each other, and to focus on their feelings and communicating their feelings, because it's really our feelings that connect us. And it's so easy to make, oh, that sounds so touchy-feely, and I used to get defensive and say, oh, no, look at our PET scans and our angiograms. One day I said, you know what? It is touchy-feely. That's what makes it work so well. We are touchy-feely creatures. We're creatures of community. And bringing people together in a safe environment where they can let down their defenses. Like, again, it's not that you shouldn't have defenses. But if you have nowhere that feels safe enough to be open and authentic, and no one that you trust enough to do that with, then those, in a sense, those walls are always up. And if they were always up, they isolate you. And if they isolate you, you're more likely, ironically, to get sick and die prematurely.
Absolutely.
And so many people in our culture have no one to do that with. And so when they can go into a support group, it's incredibly transformative. And then they can see how good that feels, and then take that back into their other relationships and make them more intimate. And to that extent, they become that much more healed.
And it's all about finding your tribe. That's a big part of what we do at Health Bootcamps is we help you connect with a tribe so you can grow together, bond together. And we actually do daily life calls that are free. So once you join the tribe every day, you can just jump on a free call and catch up with others, ask your questions, because to your point, there is nothing available today that gives people that level of support and care. So
there is now, through what you're doing and through what we're doing with our programs that we're training around the country.
Exactly.
And so often people say things like, oh, having a heart attack was the best thing that ever happened to me. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what, are you crazy? And they say, no, that's what it took to get my attention. And so often when people are sick, we're just trained to literally or figuratively bypass the problem or numb it or kill it, as opposed to saying, okay, there's an opening here. Because change is hard, but if you're in enough pain, suddenly the idea of change becomes more appealing. And then as you make these changes and the pain gets better, not just the physical pain, but the deeper depression and loneliness and isolation,
Absolutely.
that becomes the doorway that we're trying to change medical education so that people, when we're trained as doctors or other healthcare professionals, can see that suffering as a way, as an opening, as a doorway for helping people. Leonard Cohen said, the cracks are where the light comes in. It's that
Yeah.
idea.
Conventional doctors giving up on me and saying, we don't know what to do with you, take prednisone, was the best thing that ever happened to me because it brought me here. So I'm one of those people who says getting this sick and not figuring out how to resolve it and being forced to figure it out on my own was absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me.
Well, now people don't have to do it on their own because they've got you and they've got me and other people out there doing this work.
Absolutely. You shouldn't have to do it on your own.